The Oscars are never going to make everybody happy. Too many great movies every year, not enough slots. Some snubs hit harder than others, and 2025 had plenty. But this has been going on forever. The Academy has a long history of blowing it. Some of the greatest films ever made didn't just lose, they didn't even get nominated. These are some of the biggest Oscar snubs that still make no sense. Dirty Harry, the movie that kicked off a franchise and turned Clint Eastwood into the ultimate tough guy. He plays Dirty Harry Callahan, a cop hunting down a serial killer terrorizing San Francisco. And like the name suggests, he doesn't care about rules, only results. This movie had everything the Oscars usually go for: a powerhouse lead, high-stakes action, and a story that actually makes you think. But it got 0 nominations. Probably because of The French Connection. That one dropped a couple months earlier, also had a cop breaking the rules, but was way less graphic. And let's be real, that made it a lot easier for voters to stomach. Lady and the Tramp is mostly remembered for the spaghetti scene and that massively problematic We Are Siamese song. But aside from that, it's a fantastic movie. Classic love story between two dogs from totally different worlds running around the city, getting into trouble, and charming audiences for over 60 years. Even got a remake in 2019. By 1955, Disney was an Oscar magnet. Still, Lady and the Tramp got completely shut out. Not a single nomination, nothing for that gorgeous score, nothing for Bella Nada, one of the most beautiful songs Disney ever put out. And it was the first animated feature ever released in widescreen. That alone changed the game for animation, and the Academy still looked the other way. Jack Nicholson, Stanley Kubrick, one of the most iconic horror movies ever made. Anyone with even a basic knowledge of great cinema knows The Shining. Jack Nicholson plays Jack Torrance, a struggling writer who takes a job as an off-season caretaker at an isolated hotel. Moves in with his family, starts seeing ghosts, slowly loses his mind. You already know the story. This thing is a cultural landmark. Technically, it's flawless. Nicholson's acting is next level. But the Academy didn't give it a single nomination, not one. Instead, The Shining got Razzie nominations, just insult on top of injury. Every film student dreams of making a classic on their first try. Tarantino pulled it off with Reservoir Dogs, a crew of criminals, a diamond heist, and a rat in the mix. Joe Cabot puts the team together, but everything falls apart fast. Not the most polished film, but the writing and execution were more than Oscar-worthy. Probably got drowned out by bigger budget competition, but that just makes the snub worse. Every year, Reservoir Dogs rises higher, and at this point, it's legendary. A bunch of guys in suits and sunglasses walk down the street, and Little Green Bag is playing in your head. That's impact. The world is yours. 4 words that sum up Tony Montana's entire rise and fall. Al Pacino plays the Cuban refugee who claws his way to the top, builds an empire, makes enemies, and watches it all collapse. Oliver Stone wrote it. Brian De Palma directed it. Pacino carried it. Should have been an Oscar contender across the board, but Hollywood wasn't having it. Too violent, too vulgar, too much. No way the Academy was giving Scarface a shot. Doesn't matter. The movie aged better than most of the films that actually won that year. No movie did more to bolt Mary Shelley's Frankenstein into the public imagination. It launched generations of Halloween costumes, and in 90-plus years, not a single negative review. Boris Karloff stars as the monster, brought to life by Dr. Frankenstein. The monster struggles to survive in a world he doesn't understand, and that clearly doesn't want him. The real world wasn't much better. Frankenstein wasn't just censored and banned in multiple places. The Academy ignored it completely. No nominations, despite deserving plenty. And if the Academy had a Best Makeup category in 1931, this would have been a lock. Too bad that didn't happen until 1981. Sean Connery's Bond goes on a mission to recover a decoding machine, teaming up with Soviet agent. The movie nails that balance between Fleming's intense, serious Bond and the action-packed spectacle that audiences love. The result is one of the best Bond films ever made. The Academy didn't care. From Russia with Love didn't get a single Oscar nomination, which is ridiculous. At least the BAFTAs and Golden Globes paid attention because the Academy sure didn't. Widely seen as the best Marx Brothers movie, and definitely the one with the most appetizing title. It throws the iconic foursome into a political satire set in the fictional country of Fredonia. It's not just funny, it's sharp. The script is a machine gun blast of jokes, the sets are massive, and the execution is on point. But maybe if it played things a little safer, if it wasn't so politically loaded, the Oscars would have paid attention. Didn't happen. Took until 1974 for the Academy to finally throw the Marx Brothers an honorary Oscar. A little late, but at least they got there. The jock, the popular girl, the nerd, the rebel, the outcast, high school stereotypes we all know. John Hughes brings them all together in The Breakfast Club, a Saturday detention that slowly peels back the layers to reveal the relatable humans underneath. Teen dramas have had a tough road getting any respect from the Oscars. By the 2000s, Juno managed to break through, but in the 80s, no chance. The Breakfast Club didn't get a single nod, despite its sharp writing, pitch-perfect performances, and that unforgettable anthem, Don't You Forget About Me. The Academy ignored it, but time didn't. It earned a spot in the National Film Registry in 2016. Deserved. Charlie Chaplin's City Lights tells the story of the tramp falling for a blind flower seller. He stumbles through every possible mishap to win her heart and raise the money she needs to restore her sight. What follows is some of the most heartwarming and heartbreaking storytelling ever put on screen. By 1931, sound had taken over, but Chaplin didn't care. He made a silent film that outshined the talkies. Writing, directing, acting, composing, he did it all, and the result still works almost a century later. No dialogue, but it says everything. The Academy snubbed it completely, which makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. City Lights has lasted longer than any of the films they actually honored that year.